everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are really excited today to do another bonus episode, and we have our very good friend Haley Strong is here. Haley, how are you doing?
I am thrilled as usual to be here. I don't know if there's anyone in this world that I'd watch movies in general for besides you.
Well,
But of course I couldn't miss this masterpiece that we're gonna talk about today.
Yeah, I hope that our friendship can withstand these terrible movies they can make you watch.
No, you know what? Honestly, I'd rather watch something like this. I went to go. My husband made me go see James Bond last week or 2 weeks ago, and it was terrifying. I was scared the entire time. So these fluff movies, oh, what a thrill for me! It's just it's nice. I'm not terrified. I can actually watch it.
Well, last time, if you all aren't aware, we had Haley on. We talked about Ivy and Mistletoe, which is directed by Candy Kane, who
my favorite person alive.
We love and adore.
My idol.
And it stars. I always want to say his last name wrong. Cody Cagliv. How do you say his last?
Calafiore.
Calafiore. Yes, who is the big winner of Big Brother All Stars.
Yeah, congrats to him.
Very exciting.
Also the big winner of this movie.
Yeah. Now, and we said, we got to see the rest of these movies that they've doing. They've had like 6 movies that they've done together.
So like what? With all love and respect to Candy Cane, what the heck? Like why is she so obsessed with him? Why are like is she a big reality TV person and she spotted him, or they just have like a nice functioning working relationship and that's all that is? Like, what about Cody just keeps making her call him?
I think she is a big reality TV person because this is the only reason that I think this is I noticed the other day that her and our buddy Rob Sesternino are friends on Facebook.
Stop.
Yeah.
Do you think she could be my friend? Do you think she's ever listened to me on a podcast?
I hope so. I mean, I hope that she's like a cool, like, they're just having fun. Because we really do think she's awesome. Like we are fans, even if we poke fun.
She is making her dreams come true, and you know what? That's respect.
Right. So that I kind of think maybe she is sort of a fan of reality
Interesting.
TV. I hope so.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
But
it doesn't make sense to call him otherwise, honestly. If although in Ivy and Mistletoe, I remember distinctly saying that he was far and away the best actor in that movie. I don't know if that's the case here. I don't know. I thought he was fine. I'm over his brooding thing. I feel like it was too similar to the Ivy and Mistletoe thing.
Okay. Well, we will dive more into the Maltese Holiday, but before, we always kind of update each other and give a little bit of our reality TV talk. And so if you're listening, you're like, I don't have any interest in that.
I'll stick around anyway because it's going to be fun.
I'll put a timestamp in the notes that then you can go and when we start talking about the movie. But we got to talk a little bit about our first love, of course, is reality television. Both of us. And
I've been a little overwhelmed with the reality TV sphere this fall season. Like there's just been so much.
Yeah, there has been a lot. But let's talk a little bit about Survivor this season. So we just had, I don't know when I'm going to air this, but as of the 7th of November, we just had the merge episode. It was a 2-week episode, the merge episode.
Yeah.
And what do you feel? How do you feel about the season so far?
I'm glad Survivor is back, but I just wish I was enjoying it more than I am.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot of changes this year. There's only 26 days. They're making them go without a lot of the rewards and different things that they would have before, less food. And I was kind of surprised that they did that because to me, like seeing them suffer like isn't really enjoyable. And I think that when they have more full bellies, then they're able to strategize and you get to the more dynamic a little bit more. But I have to say, I've been a big fan of like the Beware idols. I think that it just adds sort of another element to the idol as opposed to
Mhm.
just being,
An
kind of an
idol.
idol. And I thought that that was a really good, well thought out twist.
Mhm.
Um, and I feel like there's been other twists that have been interesting and made the characters kind of have to strategize a little bit more and think a little bit more than they might otherwise. And that's the kind of twist that you want, as opposed to a twist that just gives people power and it's not as
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I absolutely don't mind the 26 days. Like I'm fine with that. I don't
Hmm.
care. I'm with you on I don't know why we're torturing them. That's not really what I'm here for.
Hmm.
I'm finding that since this season feels so heavy-handed on the twist that it's hard for me to like
There's a lot.
enjoy any of them almost. And I
Hmm.
just it for me it sucks because the cast is so good that I would have loved to just see them run with the game.
Hmm.
Um and I you know what, I like your point of now these people are having to think a little bit differently than they would have otherwise. So that I do appreciate. I just sometimes I just it's we have a good thing. Why mess
Hmm.
with it too much?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's like the the island of the Ghost Island one.
Mhm.
Oh, that made me so mad. I hated that so
I like
much.
don't even I can't even remember that season like at all.
It
Like
was
I've completely
awful.
just pushed it out of my mental space.
Hmm.
Do you watch Dancing with the Stars?
I did for a long time, and then I just had to give it up because it was too much time.
Yeah, that's the reality show I'm enjoying most right
Oh,
now
okay,
is
good
Dancing
season.
with the Stars. Yeah.
Who are you rooting for?
Who am I even rooting for? There's you know what, Amon Schubert, that's who I'm rooting for.
Hmm.
He's a NBA player and he's so tall, but he
Yeah,
moves so well and his partnership with Daniela is just really great. And you know what? I'm just having a great time watching the season. Although
that's
there are a
good.
lot of ringers, like there are a lot of people who are like, I'm a Broadway dancer. It's like I was on Dance Moms. It's like, of course these people can dance. Like,
Right.
so it's almost not as fun that way. But I'm having a great time watching that.
Yeah, because they have JoJo, right? Isn't that her name?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
was on Dan. Yeah,
yeah.
I like that. I prefer personally. I preferred Dancing with Stars over So You Think You Can Dance, just
Hmm.
because I'm the worst dancer in the world. So it was like more interesting for me and more entertaining for me to see people that were really bad and then like became semi
Yeah,
decent, to like
yeah.
watch that journey versus like
The people
watching
who
people
are
that are amazing.
like 16 and they're the best dancers on
Right.
earth, and you're like, what am I doing
Exactly.
with my life?
Well, but don't we have a season of Bachelorette going right now?
Oh my god.
It's
Rachel, I
bad.
am so it's not that it's bad, it's just that I'm tired.
Hmm.
If we would have just skipped Katie's season, although Katie I enjoyed Katie's season, so don't get me
Hmm.
wrong, but it's just like they're going from a season of The Bachelorette to Bachelor in Paradise to another season of The Bachelorette to The Bachelor in the winter is it's just a lot. It's a lot.
Hmm.
I'm really enjoying Michelle as a lead. I really like her.
Hmm.
I'm just not like totally sucked into the season. Is all.
Yeah. Yeah. I can understand that. I mean, I've never really watched the show that much, but there's got to be seasons that are certainly better than others. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Do they have a good group of bachelors for
Not
her?
really. And that
No.
I think that's what I'm not super loving is that I just don't find the guys that compelling this
Hmm.
season.
Yeah. Well, and then then you don't have the chemistry. So.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Michelle is a great lead. I don't know. I'm just a little tired. I'm just a little tired. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
All right. Well, let's dive into the Maltese Holiday.
You know what I'm not tired of? The Maltese Holiday.
The Maltese Holiday. So it actually technically came out in July of this year, but we should tell people we struggled to be able to cover this because for some reason they don't want people in Canada to see this movie.
They absolutely do not. You said, oh, like you can rent it on Amazon Prime, and I said, great. It's my husband's credit card in the Amazon, so like he's gonna pay for it, and I'm not even gonna have to. And then I went to like rent it, and it said, no, the credit card needs to be an American credit card from an American bank account.
So weird.
Like, rude. So then I tried to Google. Actually, Ethan tried to Google because at this point I was lying on the couch and I was like, help me. So we found it on Pureflix. So I was going to sign up for a free trial and like put my credit card in and everything and then forget about it and then have a Pureflix account for 7 months. But they were also like, they asked me for my postal code. So I put it in and they're like, zip code's incorrect. It's like, okay, well, I don't have a zip code. Leave me be. So I couldn't watch it. You helped me out because you're great like
we were
that.
able to make it work. But yeah, surprising. And this movie should not be on Pureflix. Like
it was pretty racy.
Like what?
It was absolutely the raciest of the movies you have got me to watch so far.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That includes 2 about reality dating shows.
Well, yeah, and the girl gets completely sloshed at one point. We're going to talk about that, and then is very brazen. And I mean, it's certainly not. I mean, because I think of like Pureflix as being a step above Hallmark, even as far as like
chastity,
like purity or whatever. It's Pureflix, and so the fact that they would have this movie on there was kind of shocking to me. I'm like, what?
I was very surprised. You know what? Like, there's like a bunch of scenes where they're at like a winery and she has wine in her hand and she has like the Maltese Falcon drink. And even at those points, I was like, I'm surprised that there's this much like alcohol content in this movie. And then she like has a little bit too much wine to drink and is like trying to hit on Cody Calafiore, and I was pretty shocked.
Yeah, I really was. Well, so we only have a 1-sentence summary of this movie on the IMDb. It just says
there's nothing. There's not a trivia fact. There is absolutely nothing here. I was trying to figure out. Actually, I did find some of the filming locations.
Yes, and we'll talk about that.
That's about it. I wanted to know when this movie was filmed.
So it came out in 2021, like I said, this July, and it definitely was not actually a Maltese Holiday very much, but it's the little summary. It's just one sentence. It says 2 single travelers travel to Malta in search of adventure and find love along the way. So I guess we should say overall, what did you think about this movie?
It was okay. So if I'm ranking the movies you've made me watch, number 1, that first one you made
Ryan
me
Banks,
watch. Yes, that was a great one. Number 2 was the last one we watched.
Oh, the
Bachelor one, where they were the friends and they went to Hawaii.
Oh yeah. Love for Real.
Love for Real. Then this one, then cats and not cats and dogs. Why do I want to call it cats and
Yeah,
dogs?
what was it? Yeah, yeah, Love Like Cats and Dogs, whatever that
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
That's okay. So I'm not that off base. Then Ivy and Mistletoe. So this
Okay,
is in the middle. You know
okay,
what?
middle.
I had a nice time watching it. I did message you about 7 minutes into the movie to say like I am infuriated. The fury did succeed. It did. Yes, yes, it did. Um, I thought the main girl,
Uh huh.
she was cute.
Uh huh.
The influencer shtick kind of got a little old for me because we never got like any other info about that, like because
Yeah.
she told him, I'm a photographer, like and there was like no mention of her work as a vlogger, which seemed odd to me, and I didn't mind it as like a storytelling device, but
I think I told you when we did Cats and Dogs that these movies love photographers. They
yes,
love
yeah,
photographer. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's always like a lifestyle photographer too. It's never like somebody shooting photos at Sears or something like
yeah,
that, you know.
no, like I'm a very successful
Yeah.
wedding photographer. It pays the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I found a bit of a disconnect with that.
Mhm.
I found it a little annoying in the beginning, and then I kind of got over it, although I thought it was weird that she was like, I met this guy, who knows where it goes, because from anything I've known about it, like watched on influencing, it's like nobody ever wants to reveal any relationship statuses, or like you kind of keep it close to the vest because then people get too invested and they'll be like, where's this person you were dating for,
Right.
and so that's that. I need to talk about the friend.
Well, so my thoughts about this movie is I do think that Nuts and Bolts it's a better movie than Ivy and Mistletoe, but I think it's more bland. Like
That is fair. I think I am just distracted by nice scenery.
yeah. Um and there were some things about it that definitely irritated me, and there were some major production things that were tough for me to deal with, like the sound mix in this movie was so bad. There were times when I was having to like turn it way up to even hear what the people were saying, and then there would be like the big loud music, and I thought that, I mean, I know that they have no budget at all, but it was
They went to
really
Malta somehow.
yeah. I wonder if they were in Malta for like one day, because the only real almost everything in this movie was filmed in New York.
Mhm.
We see that in the filming details, as you said on IMDb, and there were there was like one montage where they showed some different scenes that looked like, oh, okay, that's actually in Malta.
Yeah, well, and like what, it makes sense to me now why they did that. I thought that lasted 45 minutes too long. But they're like, we spent all of our money going
Yeah.
to Malta. We need to include these scenes, even though they're so boring.
Yeah, and that song was terrible that they had going. Well, but I hated that song that they had during that montage.
It was
Uh,
I picked up my phone and started playing a game during that, and I like
mhm.
played 3 levels and it was still not over that
Yeah.
montage.
So it starts out with her. She's going on a Shaycation because her name's Shay, and she's a social media influencer. And she's going on this vacation with her best friend, Kristen. And they've been planning it for a year and a half at the same time that Kristen's planning her wedding, and to this guy named Barnaby. Um, and the day of the trip, all of a sudden, Kristen is missing in action. She
Okay.
did.
Did you think she was dead?
I kind of hoped she was dead, because otherwise that is incredibly, incredibly rude. Like if like if you decide to give up on your trip, okay, I guess I could
No,
maybe
it's not
understand that.
okay.
But like
No,
you
no.
should at
I'm
least answer the phone when your
oh,
friend
this is
is calling. I mean, she almost missed her flight because she was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for the car and waiting for the
yeah.
like what? I mean, you've already paid for it. So why on earth, like I didn't understand why she wouldn't want to go, and I didn't understand why her fiance wouldn't want her to go. And the fact that she would just refuse to answer the telephone.
What a ridiculous thing. Because I don't I don't know if Kristen understands anxiety, but I'm definitely thinking she's dead.
Yeah.
I've been like, well, my best friend's dead. I can't go on vacation.
Yeah.
But also, this person would not be my friend anymore. I would never talk to this woman again. I don't care if her and
Agreed.
Barnaby break up. I would say, like, okay, delete my number. It's been nice knowing you. We are not friends. You just screwed me over so bad.
Yeah.
Also, I hate the plot device of that her fiance got in a fight, picked a fight with her, and now she's not allowed to go, and that he never wanted her to go. Like, girl, get a new boyfriend. This dude
It
sucks.
was creepy. You shouldn't. Your partner shouldn't be telling you where you can go, what you can do, what you can what you can do. Like, yeah, he can express like, I wish you were here for Christmas. That's understandable, but not like you can't go. And that was the impression that I get, especially if something that she'd been planning for a long time.
This isn't new. It's not like 2 weeks ago they decided to go to Malta, and you're just screwing over your best friend for some guy who obviously sucks so bad. And like, she was unfazed by it. She was like, well, Barnaby, like, we fought. I can't leave when he's angry. Like, I am leaving and telling him, like, change the locks. I don't care. I'm never seeing him again either.
Yeah, and she's like, I can't leave when he's angry.
Yes, I can absolutely leave and leave him for good, actually.
And she says, we can take other trips. I can't find another husband.
Yes, you can. No. I could find 45 more husbands.
I was so mad. And I was mad too, the way that this movie kept acting like the idea of traveling by yourself is like madness. Like,
yeah, it's like, a trip by yourself? How bold. What do you mean you're not in this romantic country with a lover? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
We don't even let people into Malta unless they're traveling with somebody else.
Yeah. And it's just like, and I mean, it was the same thing with, so Cody gets there with Will, I guess his name Will, I think. Will. Anyway, Cody gets there with his brother, and
the guy from Lizzie McGuire.
Okay. Yeah, his brother has been left at the altar, and he has spent $13,000 on this trip, and he is too devastated to go. So and like, I guess I'd be a little bummed if I was planning on going to, if I was going on a trip with my sibling and then I ended up going by myself. I guess I'd be a little bummed.
I would be livid. I'd be like, what the hell is wrong with you? I think maybe you and I have a different approach to like travel, in which, like, if I was left at the altar, it would be the best thing to take my mind off that, going on a bomb vacation and like posting pictures on Instagram and making everyone think that I feel good about myself.
Yeah, no, I absolutely would go by myself. That's why I thought it was just ridiculous that this movie treated both of them like they were crazy people for the idea of traveling by yourself. And I was just like, people do that all the time.
Yeah, and like, and they're acting like travel rules that were from 1995 were still in effect. Like, oh yeah, can she just have my plane ticket? No, that's not how that works. That's truly not how that works.
Right.
There was this story a couple of years ago in Canada about this guy who, him and his girlfriend broke up, but they had like this European vacation booked. So he needed to find somebody with the exact same name as her to like take the trip with him.
Oh, that's like a novel.
Yeah, but it happened in real life.
I read that book.
That's so funny. But it was just like,
the name, but
yeah, like, no, like that wouldn't happen. It would not happen. And then don't they know she's at the airport? Like, she would have already checked in.
Yeah, so and she's at like not the just gate and they're closing it up and they only have like, and this all happens right there.
And then she also is like, oh, I know I'm soups late, but can I just run to the B room real quick? Like, no, you get on that plane and you wait the 25 minutes until the plane's in the air to go to the bathroom.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I actually think in some ways, I think traveling solo can be more fun than traveling with.
Yeah. You get to do all the things you want to do. You
Mhm.
either get to have the listen, since I've been in a relationship, I have not gotten the aisle seat that I so desire once in 7
Yeah.
years, and I miss being on the aisle so deeply.
Yeah, and you can eat what you want, you can relax. I'm going to Disneyland by myself
Yeah,
and the
great.
end of this year because I just want to just relax and have
Yeah.
a great time.
Yeah, and you want
I
to
don't
do the
wanna
things you want to do,
I don't wanna go
and
to
it's
any
peaceful.
rides I don't wanna go on. I I just want so I it really it annoyed me that the way I feel like there's this judgment of people that are single, that like, how can you do
Yeah,
that alone? How can you go to the movies alone? How can you do like
because I want to. I want
because
to go do this thing, and like my worth and like my activity schedule is not dependent on somebody wanting to
yeah,
hold my hand. Like,
we're
what
not
the hell?
we're not waiting until somebody comes into our life in
No.
order to live a good life.
Yeah, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do now, and I'm
Mhm.
sorry if Barnaby doesn't appreciate that.
Yeah.
It just had like a very this I don't know, this movie had like a weird view on relationships, and
Yeah, it was
I
seemed
don't
like a
know, I was
very
thrown off a
I
little
was
bit.
scared. I mean, even though she was a jerk, I felt like Kristen's is she's like in a terrible abusive relationship.
Yeah,
It was
absolutely,
not
she is.
healthy. And then at the end she
But she's
dumps him,
so
but
she was unfazed by it though.
I still was mad
Yeah.
at her.
Oh, I would never have
Yeah.
forgiven her.
Yeah.
Never once. You think she's the maid of honor in my wedding to this random guy I met in Malta? No,
Right.
no, 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 no.
I agree.
That woman is dead to me. And I'm
Yeah.
not even a particularly like vengeful person, but
Yes.
that is the ultimate act of screwing somebody over.
Yeah. I mean, and I just don't even understand like he's just out of control on the part of Barnaby because
Ugh.
they've already spent all the money, so they're just going to waste all of that. Why wouldn't you? I mean, I would say if why wouldn't he just come along? It certainly seems like this should have been discussed
Yeah. Over
sooner
the
than
last 18 months.
not answering the phone. That is just unhinged,
Cruel. It's
cruel.
cruel.
Yeah, it really is.
Oh
It
my
really
gosh.
is.
There's so much of it was just unfathomable.
Yeah, and I didn't understand why Cody's brother why he didn't just come. Like I didn't understand his reasons that he was just too
Yeah,
sad, or is he?
I guess so. And he was like, "Well, I have to stay with mom since dad died, and you're always with her, so it's
Mhm.
my turn." And it's
And
just like no, you're terrible too. You can't
yeah,
make your brother go on vacation with you and then be like, actually, babes, no, I'm okay."
yeah,
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
actually get on the flight. She starts her little Instagramming, and she's like, "Hi," and blah, blah, blah. And we've seen it throughout the course of the movie so far. Her little Instagramming, and then we have Cody saying, You're going to be doing this the entire flight." Do you think
I genuinely laughed out loud at that line.
Yeah. Do you
I
think
thought that was very funny.
does he have a point here? Or
Yes,
yes.
absolutely. I am in first class. I did not pay all this money to hear you like talk about how the seat reclines or something. I
Yeah.
did not. No. Yeah, no, I agree with them.
Yeah.
And am I very active on Instagram? Yes, absolutely. I totally understand wanting to document your trip, but like hey, coming to you live from the bathroom because my seat partner is such a fun killer. He doesn't want me to blather on for 7.5 hours.
Yeah,
There's
I
got to be a
mean,
layover. There's no way in heck that there's a direct flight from New York to Valletta. Like, there's just not, it's not happening.
that's true. That's a good point.
There's a
Uh,
layover in Rome or something.
yeah, or London or something like that.
Frankfurt, nice little layover at the
Mhm.
Frankfurt International.
Do you think that she has what it takes to be an influencer? Would you want to follow her on Instagram?
No.
No.
No. She's just missing some like pizzazz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know it did seem a little. I mean, I don't follow that many kind of lifestyle people. Like most of my
Mm-mm.
people are movie people, or that kind of a thing. Uh, but it didn't seem like she was giving like that many great tips or that many great kind of. Don't you
No,
look for
no.
something like that? Like here's
Yes.
a great way to pack for your trip, or here's a great
Here's some great places to visit, like undiscovered gems, or
yeah, or
even
here's
like a fashion angle or something. There has to be an
here's a
angle.
great little sack lunch to take with you on the plane, or you know what I mean, like something like
Yeah.
that. I feel like she wasn't doing that. She was just kind of like, and my friends not answering the phone.
Yeah, I would be in her DMs being like, babe, your friend is dead. Like,
Call the police.
or if I saw the updates, like, hey, yeah, my friend just like didn't come with me. I, and I do not condone it. I would seek out that friend's Instagram and be like, what is wrong with you? That is
Yeah,
so rude. Like,
it's
I am not that
so
type of person.
rude.
I don't think you should message mean things to people you don't know. But I think in that instance, I'd have to message that Kristen and be
Mhm.
like, are you joking me?
Like it's one thing to cancel the trip. It's another thing to not answer the phone. Like
Not show up
and
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 like
and make
not book
her
the car
almost
you promised you're gonna book. Like,
yeah.
that's so rude.
So rude. I would be so mad. And, um, so then her and she calls him 9C because that was his seat number. And she's like, Merry Christmas to you, you jerk.
She was like very her. You know what? She didn't take any responsibility
Yeah.
in the issue.
No. I mean, if it was me sitting next to somebody like that, I would probably see how long they do it. I probably wouldn't, kind of rebuff them just because maybe I'm a little bit afraid of, confrontation.
Oh
But
yeah,
I
I
would,
would never in my life say anything, even if they were like filming me personally in an unflattering angle. I could not bring myself to say
yeah.
anything. No, I
I,
avoid conflict like the plague.
if they, it, I guess I would be hopeful that it was maybe
They
just
would
the
chill.
beginning as they're, kind of getting seated. Because I do that sometimes. Like I don't usually do video. Usually it's just like I'll, snap a selfie or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
when I'm traveling. But I would be hopeful that maybe it's just to start, and then
Hmm.
once because you have to pay a lot of money to get the Wi-Fi
Oh my
on
god, yeah.
on the plane, so she was spending
And I hate paying
international.
for things like I don't need to pay for. Like,
Yeah.
I will never pay for a seat assignment. I just, I hate that. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm also not
Yeah.
paying for Wi Fi for, like, honestly, probably a 9 hour flight at least if we're not counting
Yeah.
in any layovers.
But Cody was very irritated with her as well. And he like her just getting into the van for the over to the hotel, he was really annoyed with
Yeah, it
her.
was unnecessary. You know what? I'm a little tired of Cody's acting like angry.
Yeah.
But it was especially weird in this one because it was such an immediate switch flip, where at least with Holly and
Uh-huh.
Ivy or whatever it was called, it was like a slow burn into
Yeah.
that him being friends with her. But this is all of a sudden he was like, I hate you. And then he was like, no,
Yeah. He
I'm
saves her
in
life.
love
I
with
mean,
you.
that's but she says decent human beings reply with you're welcome, and he says whoever said I was a decent human being. And I mean, we talked about in the last one that the, the many ways that it could have been murderers, a
Mm-hmm.
murderer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
that was a big moment when he really Hoover said I was a decent human being.
Yeah.
She
It
also
was
when she
interesting.
arrives there, they she gets a wine basket from Kristen. Supposedly
With
that
2 wine glasses. Did you notice that?
yeah.
Kristen, you absolute a-hole.
Yeah.
How Oh, yeah? Oh, here's 2 wine glasses to remind you that I was supposed to be there with you. Here's 3 bottles of wine to drink by
Yeah.
yourself.
And they come up with these super convoluted reasons of why they are there, why they are traveling single, and the waiter, whatever, said, is kind of quizzing them, why are you here alone? And I'm like, they don't need a reason. Single
They
people travel all the time. Like,
they just want a vacation.
yeah, this is not
Why
a
are you
new
here? Vacation.
phenomena. I mean, uh, from a certain perspective, it's much easier for singles to travel. It shouldn't be this like, what?
You are so brave.
You're a maniac.
Haven't you ever thought of not traveling alone? What if you get murdered?
I mean, like you have that much more of a protection with, if you're traveling with your girlfriend. Like, if you're gonna get murdered, you're probably gonna get murdered.
Yeah, you're gonna get double murdered.
Yeah,
Enjoy. At
yeah.
least you go out not alone, but
And they say, we are the only singles here, and I'd like to keep it that way.
like, what does that even mean?
It means
Like, he wants to stay single,
he
or he
doesn't want to
doesn't
date
want
her,
any
I
more
guess.
singles?
Yeah, that was weird. And she gets the Maltese Falcon drink, and he's all like, well, that wasn't even filmed in Malta. It was in San
Like, who
Francisco.
cares? Who cares? I didn't watch the movie. I don't care. I want a nice fizzy drink,
Yeah.
and I want to have a nice time.
Yeah,
And I'm not having a nice time with you.
Sometimes these TV movies can go crazy with the drinks, and they make me laugh. The one that's the most funny was, there was movie called The Mistletoe Inn, and they had a mixed drink called the Tiny Tim.
Oh no. What would even be in that?
Remember, but I just died laughing. Like, first,
Tiny
why would you
Tim.
name a drink after a little child?
Oh my god.
Like, an iconic, hopeful, peaceful little child is your your cocktail.
Oh my gosh. That is just outrageous.
So
Wow.
funny. And he says, what's in it? What's in the drink? And she says, it's the stuff dreams are made of.
But like, genuinely, I wanted the drink recipe. It looked delicious.
Yeah. And they had a ton of like drone shots of the hotel in Malta. And they had some terrible ones that were done at night where you couldn't even see what was going on at all. It was like really dark.
They didn't care. They're like, we're losing sunlight. And Candy Cane, our queen director, was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Get those shots.
Yeah. And so then we have I guess we find out that this was not only when Cody's brother gets left at the altar, but also his dad died earlier that year. So he's had a really tough year. And
I mean, he didn't get left at the altar.
Yeah, he got a free vacation out of all this.
Yeah.
But both of them have never been engaged, but their parents were married for over 30 years. So
wow, that is really the true test of a relationship and if it's gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a trope on The Bachelor too. It's almost like if your parents have been divorced, you can't find love.
Yeah.
It's like not allowed or something.
And I mean, you think you could kind of use that as a cautionary tale and maybe be more informed as opposed to people who are more naive,
Yeah.
But he's afraid of heights. She doesn't know how to swim.
Oh, when did you, and at what moment do you like, this is going to be a major plot point?
Yeah.
Like the moment she's in the pool and she's like, I'm in the pool. I know you guys know I can't swim. And she said it 45 times. It's like, okay, just go to the YMCA, please. For your own safety. You need to learn how to swim.
Don't plan a trip to Malta if you don't know how to swim.
Also, like, I am also afraid of heights. I would avoid the cliff edge. It would make me nauseous.
Yeah.
To be that close.
And so she's hiking. He ends up coming to
she invites
see
him
her.
And then he says no, but then he realizes halfway he should go and then he goes.
Yeah. and he's helping her with the camera at one point, and he's like leaning over her, very cozy for this person that
Yeah.
he supposedly hates.
And there was like no moment of her like looking up and being like, ooh, sexy time.
Yeah.
Like there was no acknowledgement of it.
He seems to have never heard of a camera before. Like he has no idea how to, like, he doesn't know how to focus. He doesn't know how to, like,
Yeah, just like figure it out. It's not that hard.
Yeah,
But is he my mother taking a like a picture?
yeah. And he's like, back up, back up, back up, back up. And then all of a sudden you just hear quiet. There's nothing. And she's
You
in the
would think you would
water.
hear a scream. Sorry. This is a traumatic thing. And
She
she
doesn't
did
know how to
not
swim.
I don't want to judge her trauma, but she did not seem that traumatized. I just
No.
need a tea because like my nerves are so shot. I'd
Yeah.
have been screaming. I would have been thrashing.
I mean, if I almost died, that would be a big moment.
I probably
I'm
would have gone to the hospital because I would have inhaled
Yeah.
some water.
Yeah. And and doing a ocean rescue is not easy.
No, it's not.
I had my lifeguard certification when I was younger, and like the certification that you need for your first level, like to be at a pool or that kind of thing, is like totally different than what you need to be an ocean guard, like because those rescues are so much harder.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I also did my lifeguarding when I was young. I was not a lifeguard. I just did the
Mhm.
courses. But I was so much smaller than everyone in the class always. So I could never do the rescues right because I was like this tiny, like I was so small and I couldn't like flip over these tall like basketball players.
Yeah.
I did not have a career as a lifeguard. Not for me, thank you.
So yeah, we get the rescue, and you jumped in after me? Of course.
Yeah, you were going to die.
And then
Yes,
she
of course I
says-
jumped in.
She says, "Did you get the picture?"
That was funny.
That was really funny.
I would, not gonna lie to you, I would be pissed off that I didn't get that nice picture. Because I would have, because like I can't hike. Also, did they get the camera back? Like, did they redo the
Yeah,
hike?
they never showed it. But I guess you're supposed to just assume.
Okay, fine. Then I would go up and be like, I'm getting another picture. Please
Yeah.
tell me
And
I'm gonna
after
fall
he
off a cliff.
saved her life, then she says, maybe he's not the jerk I thought he was. It's like the beginning of a weird fairy tale.
That was so odd.
And she finally asks his name. He says, 9C, you got a name.
And I like that he was like, I sure do. And then walked away. I was like, ooh, that is a baller move. I was like, yeah, that would probably get me, not gonna lie.
And then he's talking to his brother, and his brother's like, you risked your life for this girl? As if like that's a unusual response. Like
was he just gonna like wave to her as she's drowning?
Like,
have you
seen
seen that meme where the person's like drowning and then someone comes over, like gives them a high five and swims away? That's what he wanted him to do.
What he wanted. Like he was acting like the fact that he jumped in after this girl was like wild and crazy. You need to defend this. How could you?
But you're
even
afraid
think
of
that?
heights.
And I feel like that's the innate response that any human would have. Is like, here this person is drowning, I'm going to try and help them. And
like, no wonder this dude got left at the altar. He has absolutely no empathy skills whatsoever.
Like a sociopath. And
oh my god, I would leave him too.
He says, I just didn't want anything to happen to her. She's really special. I can't explain it.
She might be the one.
It's
like, what? You've met this girl 45 minutes ago and you hated her for 37 of those minutes.
It's a connection like I've never felt before.
Oh my god.
Was that what you felt when you met your husband, Kaylee?
Okay, so I mean, I grew up on rom-coms, right? So
yeah.
I met my husband in college, and I had gone to university before, and then I did like a community college program after. So I went to Boston for a few days as the school year was starting because I was like, college, man. That was not the right attitude, by the way. And so when I came the next week, everyone already had friends, and there was 2 open seats left in the class, and I was like, I'll sit beside the cuter guy. You never know, he might be my husband. And like then we were wearing the same watch and blah 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 blah. But I mean, I knew pretty quick. I knew pretty quick that like he was something special, blah blah blah. So
Aw,
I'm not
you
allowed
had
to
a
like make
connection.
fun of that. But I'm going to make fun of that. That was ridiculous.
But I think even without the connection, I would hope that he would still save this person's life.
Exactly. Yeah, I would hope so too.
I mean, that would be nice. Uh, but then we find out that she's a photographer, that she owns her own company, and that he is supposedly an editor for an online magazine. And
Of course he is. Like that. What another
Yeah.
like Hallmark movie career, right? Like,
yeah, both of these people should be more than comfortable being places alone and traveling alone.
Yes.
I mean, if you're an influencer, you do tons of stuff alone because you have to cover the event, you have to cover whatever it is that and a lot of times they only have, one person who's covering it. They don't have a +1 or a +2. So if you're an influencer, you have to, I mean, it's just like me with being a film critic. If I didn't go to movies alone, I couldn't have my career. Like I have to go to movies alone because I'm the only, a lot of times you can't have a +1 at the screenings. So it just doesn't even make sense, their whole attitude.
No, it really doesn't. And like being a wedding photographer, you got to eat a lot of meals alone because you don't know anyone else at that wedding.
Yeah, and this dinner was the spot that was the worst as far as the sound mixing. It was so hard to hear what they were saying, to understand what they were saying. I thought that it was really bad.
It was also so weird, right? Like the guitar player came over and was like, "I'm going to play your wedding song." Like when you look for wedding rings first before saying that.
Yeah. And especially if they're being kind of awkward or whatever, then you just move on. You're not like, "Oh, fiance then. Oh, girlfriend, boyfriend then."
Girlfriend.
No.
Yeah, no. I mean, let me just play a song. And then they dance in the middle of the restaurant. My favorite character was the woman who hated these two people.
Yeah.
Just absolutely despised them.
She's like, "It's time to eat now."
It's like, I'm trying to bring you your food, actually. Like, I'm trying to do a job here. Thank you. And then when the bill came out, it's like, okay, well, I'll just leave this with you guys since you guys don't know what's up. Sorry. And I think Cody should have just let her pay for dinner because he saved her life. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I felt that too. I did like I love in these movies when they have like the unnatural amount of like hand touching or the camera holds on them, like them both holding for the bill at the same time.
Magical.
It was great. Yeah. It was great. Yeah, they had
and then they brought up like 45 times too of like, well, are you sure you want to spend your whole vacation? It's like, who else am I going to spend it with? The woman who hates me? Like, no.
Well, and so they was like, there's 4 days until Christmas. And they're like, why don't we do all the touristy stuff together instead? And
that's when we got the montage, and it genuinely felt like I was watching for 4 days.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, I'm not leaving until the 30th. You sure you want to spend the rest of the time with me until the 30th?
Like, well, what have we been doing? Like, who else? No, you know what? I'm over this. You actually do suck, so I'm going to head on out now. Thank you.
But after the dinner, he says that I kind of want to kiss you. Not kind of, because I...
Yeah. And then she was like, great, I would also love to kiss you. This movie actually did represent consent in a beneficial way, in my opinion. But also, it was weird that he didn't then follow up with kissing her. Like, it's like, I can't, I don't want to move that like...
I don't want this night to end. It's been one of the most amazing nights of my life.
So then I thought they were gonna
kiss,
go into the hotel room, and I was like really shocked at what Pureflix was putting out there.
And they're like, well, how about a hug? Which was kind of cute.
Which was way more sensual than a kiss would have been.
Yeah, that's
Thank you very
fair.
much. You're doing full body touching.
Right.
And then he was like, I don't want this hug to end. Like, I didn't love that, but...
Yeah.
Who's mine to judge?
So then Sam, the next morning, he says to them, if you hadn't told me you were single, I would say you're in love.
Oh my God. Like, let these people just be for a bit. Let their relationship bloom naturally.
Yeah. And so his brother has paid for all these excursions. And that's when you get, a lot of the montages. with this the song was so cringy called I've Got Needs is what the song
Ew.
said.
I hate that. I hate that.
They're
I have
like
needs too. I need this to stop.
they're like cozy boating and then like eating ice cream and him putting sunblock on her. And the
Again,
song was
very
so
sexy.
bad. I hated the song.
I don't even remember the song. I think I
Yeah.
blacked out because I was, it was just too boring. I just didn't pay attention to that little bit there.
Yeah. So then we get this whole scene. It was really long. That whole montage.
So long.
Was
And
so
are they
long.
still not kissing at this point? Like, sorry, we would have kissed by now.
Yeah, for real. Well, so but then they get to the end of the night and she's kind of sloshed and she wants them to make out and more.
Mhm.
And he's like, nope, I'm not going to do that.
Great.
And,
You know what, Cody? Great. That is the attitude you should have.
yes.
Yeah,
She makes him carry her. And
I mean, if I tried to make anyone carry me, that would be the last of that relationship for sure.
Yeah.
Z's.
And he says, my brother calls me Mikey. I like your brother and cheese. There's a whole thing about cheese.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it was kind of a cute line where he's like, they make this look easier in the movies. That was kind of fun. And you're right. I mean, he doesn't take advantage of her. It just felt so awkward and weird. And again, yeah, I wrote in my notes, this is on Pureflix.
Oh my God. It was like she was trying. Sorry to your listeners. She was trying to get it in.
Yeah. No question. And then she talks to Kristen, and Kristen
I'm never talking to that woman again.
But she's
left me on this vacation.
She's all like serial killer all of a sudden because she's like, do you think he has a girlfriend and feels guilty? Fairy tales aren't real.
Well, did Barnaby tell you this? Like, Barnaby's a jerk.
I hated her. I hated her so much. She was awful. And
but this movie this relationship did need some tension in the back half.
But Kristen's perspective made no sense. So like according to Kristen, the fact that he didn't pursue her when she's drunk makes him suspicious and he has a girlfriend or something like that.
Right? Like, no. If he was like gonna cheat on his girlfriend, don't you think he would have like been
if he
old enough guy to like take advantage of this woman? I don't know.
Yeah, like if he was a bad guy, I would think that he would have, not been a decent gentleman, but that makes him more suspect. Like she actively almost wanted her friend to get attacked as proof that of who his interest in her or something. It was bizarre. Kristen is just the worst.
Barnaby has completely warped her view of a healthy relationship. That poor girl.
Yeah. And so then the next morning she checks out of the hotel, and
that seems dramatic. Okay, like you're a little embarrassed.
I think this is on Christmas Day too.
Yeah.
And so should she buy like a whole new ticket, or she's just going to go to the airport and try to get a ticket? Or
I don't know. It didn't make any sense.
And he sees her and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I jumped off a cliff for you. Please don't leave. I'm falling in love with you. You can't leave."
And then and then the explanation she gave him was like, "I'm so embarrassed. Like, you must hate me." And like, honestly, if he hates her because of that, then like the guy's a loser.
Yeah.
But also he's like, it's fine. Like I've drank before too. Yeah, like,
he
says,
my God. We both needed some liquid courage to say it. And he says that we were supposed to come on this trip just to meet each other. And and he has this whole like special event kind of planned or whatever.
I thought it was going to be bigger and better than some hotel employees shaking Parmesan cheese over these people.
Well, then he tells Sam, he says, is that what it was? Parmesan cheese?
No, it was probably like glitter, but it just seemed like Parmesan cheese, right?
Well, he tells Sam, can you move it up? Can you move it up earlier? So they go outside and...
Yeah, so I was like, oh, he arranged this huge thing. It's like, no, he just has to get the other 4 people who work at this hotel to like go on the roof and sprinkle some glitter on
I
these
mean,
people.
granted, what are you going to do in like the one day that you've decided you're in love with this girl? But
Yeah.
nevertheless, so there's snowfall out of the cups on
And then
them.
they finally kiss, question mark?
Yeah, I think they kissed. And
And
then
then
it goes
so
to
like
their wedding.
well, yeah, but I have some more questions in the in between.
Right.
Like, she gave up her hotel room, so did she go back to his hotel room and stay there for the last like 4 days?
I it's hard to say. I don't know what the moral standing. I don't know if these are wait for marriage people on Pureflix. It doesn't seem like it. So
No, these people
I
are not waiting for
no.
marriage.
So I probably, why not? I guess if you don't have a religious or other reason to not, then
Yeah, what's the point? Just have at her.
but they make it to their wedding, evidently, and they still are evidently friends with Kristen, and I guess he has to still be friends with his brother, but they're at the wedding. And Kristen,
It was a destination wedding in Malta. I'm going to say that I would be livid if I paid all this money for my destination wedding and then those were the chairs at the wedding venue.
oh yeah.
Chairs are not that expensive to rent. Not really.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes such a huge difference. I had
Mm-hmm.
those chairs in my basement. And they
Yeah,
just tied some bows on them all
uh-huh.
willy-nilly.
Yeah. I didn't notice the chairs. I have to give him that. But yeah, it was definitely a casual wedding.
It was cute.
Yeah,
I
casual
like that we
wedding.
got their wedding. I gotta say that.
And he says, "You're stuck with me forever, 9C." And she's like, "And I rhymed." And Kristen didn't go through with the wedding. And so she's walking down the aisle with Codys brother. And they says, "I hear Malta's a great place to fall in love."
What an
Those
absolute
two
nightmare
deserve each
those two
other.
are. Yeah, they perfect pairing, honestly.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to cancel vacations on each other for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with this movie, it's not very Christmassy.
It's not at all. They like
No.
meant it. Honestly, what's the point of it being at Christmas?
I know, it's just there was very little. I mean, it's hard to do a warm weather Christmas movie anyway,
Mhm.
but yeah, this one had very, very little Christmas magic or Christmas of any kind in there. And I just really didn't like the way that they were demonizing solo travel.
It was wild. It was
My
wild.
single friends, you go out there, you travel, you see the world.
You do not need a man or woman with you to travel or do what you want to do.
Don't let anybody stop you. Go have fun. And then when you have, when you end up having how many kids you end up going to have, you can look back on those fun times that you had when you were single. But yeah, that should not. In fact, I actually have, now I think about it, I actually have a couple friends who, even as married people, they like to take solo trips and they enjoy that. That's relaxing for them. So you don't need companionship for everything in life.
You don't. And you know what? I think there's actually like I feel like there's a lot of value in traveling solo too.
Mm-hmm.
I did it as a lot, but like I went to university across the country, so I did a lot of like traveling like that by myself, and I'd like to go do stuff. And I didn't date until late, and so once I met my husband, like we did travel a lot together. But I encouraged him to go on trips by himself or go on trips with his friends because I think there's a lot of value in it.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. And we certainly shouldn't, there's nothing wrong with traveling with your spouse, of course, or your partner, but we just shouldn't be shaming people for
No, it's absurd.
Live your best life. Like, enjoy it. And so that was my kind of irritation with this movie. And I think there were some like the dialogue and the other things like that weren't the best. But
there was some really high highs and some really low lows.
Yeah, but I did think that it was overall a better made movie, and aside from that sound mixing, and a better just story from start to finish than Ivy and Mistletoe. But it is what it is, I guess.
I think I never expected in a Hallmark or Lifetime movie to hate somebody so much as I did Kristen.
Yeah, Kristen was the worst. I just, again, you at least have to answer the phone. You can't leave your friend hanging. That was so rude.
And like, I just don't. The idea of losing out on that much money is like horrifying to me.
Yeah.
Like, congrats, your boyfriend's a stockbroker, but like, I'm going to Malta.
Yeah. So you had this again. What was your ranking?
This came in the middle of the movies we've watched.
So yeah, I would say number 1, Ryan Banks. Number 2, I would probably say Love for Real. 3, Cats and Dogs. 4, this, and then Mistletoe.
Yeah, so we're not that far off.
Yeah, pretty close.
I was just thinking about Cats and Dogs like recently and how angry it made me that this woman just set up her Airbnb to like find love and mess with people, and how creepy that was. And
it's definitely very strange.
Yeah,
love in these movies is quite the sordid affair, whether you're rescuing people. Like, what were you thinking rescuing her? Like,
yeah, how dare you saved a woman's life? For what reason? What do you mean you didn't just let her die?
Wow, this was so fun. Thank you for doing this. I will put a link in the description if people for the Amazon link. If you want to watch the Maltese Holiday and let us know what you think, I'll have our affiliate link down there. But Haley, how can people follow you and all of your fun content?
I am all over the place. If you want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at @eatstrong_. If you want to check out everything I'm reading, you can check out my Bookstagram at the Strong Library. If you want to hear more of my dulcet tones, check out the Bachelor Wrap Up on the Reality TV Wrap Ups podcast network. And I'm popping up all over the place.
Yeah. Yes, and you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So if you want to see my travel adventures, check out that. Then also, if you want to follow the podcast, a Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media, that would be great. If you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews for our podcast and for Haley's podcast. That would be amazing.
As long as they're only 5 stars.
Yes, please. 5 stars.
Come on. If you don't like the podcast, just move along.
Right. Agreed.
Just move along.
And then if you are listening on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our merch store, which has tons of fun, festive holiday designs and Hallmark inspired merch. So please take a look. And then we also have our Patreon group where we have tons of fun talking about these kinds of movies and whatever we want to talk about, even reality TV. So check it out. I think you'd really like it, and it's super cheap to join. And all that information is in the description. Thank you so much, Haley. I always look forward to this so much.
Me too. I always get such a kick out of this. So like truly anytime you're like, Haley, I have this movie. I'm like, great, pencil me in. Okay. I don't even know what it is. Don't care.
We'll look forward to whatever Candy Cane produces next.
Do you think she'd be my friend? Like do you think I could be in a Candy Cane movie? Like that is now the ultimate dream.
I feel like that's doable. I feel like that's achievable.
There's no way I'm a worse actress than half of these people. There's no way.
No question. All right, we'll make that happen. If you're listening, Candy, we love you, and touch base with us. We'll interview you. We'd love to interview you. And,
please just be my friend.
Yes. And we'll talk to you all later. Merry Christmas.